Well, there it is. Hi guys, welcome to another Witty Reacts video. We're going to be taking a look at Jim Sterling's video, J. Allen Brack's Unrepentant Bullshit. So it doesn't look like a video where he's going to be holding back. Brace yourselves. It should be entertaining. Jim Sterling videos often are. Even if his humour can be a little bit questionable at times. This should be fun to watch.
Do you know what I love most about Mississippi?
No.
The fact that I'm not there anymore. I am now in Philadelphia, and it's okay. It's all right. Buildings, sidewalk.
Very steampunk look.
We didn't think far enough ahead. We were going to parody Always Sunny and everything, but I couldn't be bothered. So here's a video about J. Allen Brack.
That's what we want.
Do you feel like we lied to you?
J. Allen Brack looks different to me.
Exploited you? That's politics, baby! Blizzard Entertainment.
He's getting his wrestling lines from real people. These crazy, wacky wrestling storylines are developed from real events that are occurring at Blizzard. He's wiling up the audience there, saying, would I exploit you? Would I lie to you? I think I see where this is going.
President J. Allen Brack is a man who knows he doesn't have to apologise, and that's why he's never done it. You would think, surely, that the man who has had to say sorry on behalf of his company several times in a matter of months has most definitely apologised. But he most definitely hasn't. Brack, with his hairstyle mirroring that of an ageing vampire's, may have said the words, but the lack of substance in those words, the pointed and carefully crafted dodging of responsibility, means he's never had to really apologise for a damn thing. Recently, Blizzard added to its growing list of PR failures by releasing a severely underwhelming remaster of Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 Reforged was blasted at launch for its scaled-back visuals, unchanged user interface, and a general sense that the original game had barely been upgraded. Connection issues at launch worsened the reception, as did the fact that Reforged completely replaces features of the original version on Battle.net. On top of that, official promo material for the game that showed unrepresentative footage, specifically the more dynamic cutscenes that didn't make it into the final game, were being used to promote it. When you factor a bunch of bug reports into the mix, it all makes for a very grim picture. The backlash was severe, massive, and record-breaking, that latter point being due to a concerted meta-bombing effort that saw Warcraft 3 Reforged earn the lowest Metacritic user score of all time. This was a good thing to happen because it was funny. At the time of me talking, Reforged now has an incredible basement rating of 0.5 after more than 28,000 user contributions.
0.5 out of 1, isn't it? So it's not bad. It's halfway through, isn't it? It's 50% game. You know, like 50% people like it, 50% don't. That's okay. It's not too bad. Yeah, I know. It's 0.5 out of 10. It got bombed so badly. There's no way it's 0.5. Like, oh my goodness. A major Blizzard game getting 0.5. That is shocking. People are not happy. Like, Blizzard are very bad at listening. But they'll probably listen to things like this that actually affect them a lot more than people complaining in forums. Because this actually really stands out.
During most of this fury, Blizzard does what Blizzard does best. Nothing. It sat back, as it often does, hoping for the shitstorm to pass, and when it became clear things weren't easing up, it finally stepped in. The company has since begun to issue full refunds for the game, and Blizzard's president, with his Skyrim character creator hair, offered one of his custom non-apologies.
He got against his hair.
Concerning Warcraft 3 Reforged, honestly, it's been a bit of a hard week, simpered Brack. Our community has come to expect really amazing things from us, and we've heard from them.
Yeah, I didn't actually do a video on this myself. I suppose this is like a partial video in a regard to that. But people were not happy with that apology at all. People, we're sorry you didn't get the experience you were expecting. Like, it's so condescending. Like, if you really just stop and think about the presentation and the dialogue that is within that apology, it's essentially like the most passive aggressive apology ever. We're sorry we couldn't please you. You know, like, we're sorry you didn't think it was good enough. Like, it's your fault. It's so... I mean, people appreciate it when people apologize, though. So why is it so hard to do it? Like, it's an easy thing to do, really, a lot of the time for these game companies. Yeah, you admit you went wrong, but a lot of people then have respect for you. So it's sometimes there's a big win for the companies in this regard. But even then, they still can't do it. Can't bring themselves to genuinely, like, apologize. It has to be like a half-assed apology.
But we did not achieve that bar. But we stand behind our games and have consistently shown that not only do we support them, but we continue to build on them even after launch. And we're committed to doing that here as well. We're going to continue to update the...
What's this software that he's got to do this with the character? Because I like that. I could do that with a Warcraft 3 character. Is there some sort of third-party, like, software lip syncing so it will detect when you're pronouncing and move its mouth? Yeah, that would be kind of cool software to have. After Effects. I use Sony Vegas, so I don't know if Sony Vegas has that. I don't use separate thing. Anyway, yeah. Well, that's an in-game mod. Really? That's a Skyrim mod that makes the character's mouth move. It looks like it's done after the effect, after it, like a post-processed thing.
Game, and we're going to continue to update the community with our plans going forward, whether you
That's not, because
like
nothing else is
not.
moving in the background.
I added that last bit. A bit of a hard week, he says, with a characteristic lack of detail. The company failed to meet amazing expectations, he says, with a characteristic humble brag that doesn't actually take responsibility for anything and places the blame on the customers who envisioned just too much. We stand behind our games, he says, while never once addressing any specific concerns or saying anything that's actually worth half a shit. This is because Blizzard Entertainment President J. Allen Brack is a man who knows he doesn't have to apologize, and that's why he's never done it.
Decided to put Dr. Dan in a title matchup just because the ruling class wants the grand championship.
While Blizzard capitulated on the refund front and Brack freshly moistened his puppy dog eyes for his bullshit non-apology, the company conveniently weaved its way around another grievance people have with Warcraft 3's disappointing re-release, a far more sinister and nasty bit of legal dick-waving that allows the company to fully exploit its own audience. Blizzard's updated terms of use give the company full legal rights to claim ownership of any game modifications and custom games.
Yeah.
It would appear the company is still a little touchy over the fact that the wildly successful Defense of the Ancients was a community-crafted game mod for Warcraft 3, and Blizzard didn't see penny one of the success that followed with Dota 2. Despite Dota's origins as a mod, Dota 2 was picked up by Valve and became one of the biggest reasons for the explosive popularity of the MOBA genre. While Valve and Riot Games made a killing with Dota 2 and League of Legends respectively, Blizzard contrived its own take on the style Heroes of the Storm, which was pretty well received. I mean, I played it like twice and it was okay. Not all was well, however, because Blizzard got a blizzard. As of December 2018, the studio and parent company Activision have lost significant interest in Heroes of the Storm, downsizing development, and suddenly cancelling all esports tournaments without even informing those who would be most impacted by the cancellation, including casters and teams who were told...
Yeah, that was just so rough, man, because they spent a lot of time building up the whole Heroes of the Dorm and stuff like that, didn't they? Where there's like, oh, you know, you can have a career playing Heroes of the Storm. Like, you're a young kid, you could either go into college or you can try to enter into a world of pro gaming, and then it's sort of so brutally cut. It's like if they gave time for people to react to it and say, look, guys, we wish we could continue this, but it's not happening right now.
Please watch the Bobby's Lizard parody. I worked 6 hours on that XD.
I've actually already watched it, but yeah, I can watch that one again, Bedito. Heroes of the Storm pros try to salvage their careers after Blizzard killed its brand. It was just so brutal. Everything is like, it just feels like the person at the top, or you know, whatever, as you would expect in most companies, of course, it's business. You know, it's business. That's why. But there's such a huge divide against sort of just. You can still do these things where you shut the tournaments down. You just got to go about it the right way. But it's just nope, gone, cut out. Everyone's lives are fucked now. Anyone that was involved in that scene, we're cutting it out because we don't need it anymore. It doesn't do us any good. Not just take a few hits for like a few months and give them time to sort of prepare for it. It's brutal, man. A lot of people didn't even get their tuition because they decided to hold off. Yeah, like, especially this day and age, you know, how big Twitch is and people watching other people play video games or becoming video game. Like, because in my day, yeah, because I'm quite old, you played video games basically for fun. And if you did it for a professional status, you barely made any money from it because there wasn't really any money in it. Believe it or not. Unlike today, where it's actually getting to the point where it's going to start soon rivaling a lot of big sport companies and sport in events. Like, esports will be huge. It will be huge. It's just a matter of time. It's obvious. I could have told you that many, many years ago. I probably did at some point. Like, for those that didn't believe it, or always, you know, you can't ever have that mentality, oh, esports will never be big. Of course it will be. If it's progressively getting bigger and bigger, and more people are playing video games, and more people are getting into video gaming, and the video game industry is growing billions upon billions each year, you could probably predict maybe that, you know, esports could become a little bit larger and more money will be invested in it, and therefore more people can make money playing it, and then therefore make a career from playing it because there's more money in it in the first place. Well, maybe. Anyway, I don't know what. I'm diverging a little bit. I think I'm just getting angry at people that sort of like think that these things will never happen. It's like, oh, this will never. Of course it will. Everything changes over time. And esports is easily just going to become massive. Because it's just natural. It's just the natural, like, how many kids are on their mobile phones these days and they're playing games all the time? They're going to grow up and play games otherwise on other consoles or PC or whatever it's going to be, or continually on the phone, and there'll just always be some competitive level. There's more people doing it than there had ever been before. So those people are going to grow up and then still want to continue doing it. I grew up playing video games. I didn't hit 18 years old and say, I'm a man now. I no longer play video games. No, I'm still going to continue playing video games because it's what I grew up on and I liked. And there's people playing video games probably from an earlier age than even I did. And I played it from a freaking ridiculous early age. Like, we're talking like Commodore 64, boys and girls, and Spectrum. You have to probably look those ones up. Hence the part where I said I was old. Are you saying video games are just like sports? I mean, yeah, I mean, kind of. Like, it's like most things. It's like how your parents look at a lot of things, okay? If there's money in it, they don't have a problem with it. Like, as soon as they find out that you make money from it, like if you said to your parents, okay, I'm going to go play Heroes of the Storm, I'm going to be in a team, esports team, playing Heroes of the Storm, and your parents go, no, you can't do that, playing video games, there's no money, you can't do that, like, no, that's a waste, you could become a doctor and all that kind of stuff. Oh, but they're going to pay me $30,000 a year, or $40,000 a year, and then it could progressively get from there, and they're like, oh, okay then, like, what you suddenly like you completely can't do this or you completely can do this. It's always the same thing, money. And anyway, the grander point I was trying to make was that basically there's more and more money getting put into esports, so it's always going to get bigger. But not in the case of Heroes of the Storm, because Blizzard cut it.
Tournament play would continue only 1 month prior to the news breaking. With no advance warning and literal careers tied up into the esports scene, Blizzard dealt significant damage to more than one livelihood that December, and you better believe a shittily unapologetic apology followed. This was another very difficult decision for us to make, no, claimed a blog post co-signed by Brack and Ray Gresco. The love that the community has for these programs is deeply felt by everyone who works on them, but we ultimately feel this is the right decision versus moving forward in a way that would not meet the standards that players and fans have come to expect. Why do I do this voice? That's all Brack and company had for the people they had right royally fucked over, because Blizzard Entertainment President J. Allen Brack is a man who knows he doesn't have to apologise, and that's why he's never done it. Now, I've got all the time in the world to make a mockery of J. Allen Brack's insincere posturing facsimiles of Apologia, but I want to quickly circle back to Blizzard's custom game acceptable use policy, which gives the company that aforementioned ownership on community creations.
Yay.
The policy states, custom games are and shall remain the sole and exclusive property of Blizzard. Without limiting the foregoing, you hereby assign to Blizzard all of your rights, title, and interest in and to all custom games,
Nick.
including but not limited to any copyrights in the content of any custom games. If for any reason you are prevented or restricted from assigning any rights in the custom games to Blizzard, you grant to Blizzard an exclusive, perpetual, worldwide, unconditional, royalty-free, irrevocable license enabling Blizzard to fully exploit the custom
Irrevocable?
games or any component.
I say irrevocable.
Never trust an elf.
I'm Grom Hellscream, subscribed. Thank you very much there, Grom Hellscream. Yeah, did you guys see that video that I put out recently? That latest Activision Blizzard's custom game. It's called Baron's TD. It's pretty good.
Thereof for any purpose and in any manner whatsoever. Fuck. It's a lot of words saying Blizzard gets to own and profit from anything you might create, even and especially if it becomes another genre-leading smash hit like Defense of the Ancients. As if that wasn't shady enough, Blizzard claims a moral right to your content. And while that might sound amusing in an overblown self-aggrandizing way, it's actually rather horrid. Moral rights don't refer to morality in the philosophical sense so much as they refer to the relationship between a creation and its creator, and the level of control somebody has over something they themselves have made. At its most basic, moral rights grant a creator the ability to claim credit for their work, the right to say they made what they made, and that is what Blizzard is claiming when it refers to moral rights. It not only wants to exploit community creativity without the need to remunerate its creators, it wants to lay claim to the very creation of that content, to take full credit for it. To say Blizzard made this without any obligation to acknowledge whoever actually did the work. But hey, Blizzard had a hard week. Poor Blizzard, poor J. Just look at that sad widow face. How could you not love that poor widowy baby call me maybe face?
MV stack. And Sterling getting involved here.
So much for fair play.
And a knee right to the back of the neck.
He's got him hooked.
Damn it.
He got him.
Of course, we'd be remiss not to discuss Brack and his performative displays of insincere contrition without touching on the tough Hearthstone esports moment. We've discussed the past events many times on the show, so to recap as briefly as possible, Blitzchung did a Hong Kong, Blizzard did a suspension, Chinese influence blamed, Blizzard condones governmental abuses through tacit compliance, Brack does a sorry. At BlizzCon 2019, J. Allen Brack offered what the press called an apology, but what we here at the Jimquisition call fucking pathetic. Here's a sampling of what Brack said, and note the by now obligatory hallmarks of the Brack apology. The Brackology, if you will.
You know,
It's termed it now, Brackology. We're sorry. Yeah. it's so bad, man. I don't like in this world where everything can be clipped and everything, like, you can't get rid of anything once it's online. Like, why do they not sort of think these things through a little bit more before giving like a haphazard or half-assed apology? I mean, they could probably have people write up an apology and do a better job. Oh well, never mind. You can actually put some Blizzard employees, some of the ones that maybe got sacked from a previous job and then rehired.
Blizzard had the opportunity to bring the world together in a tough Hearthstone esports moment about a month ago, and we did not. We moved too quickly in our decision-making, and then, to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you.
It's Titanic in the background.
When I think about what I'm most unhappy
What the hell?
there's really
What's in the
two
box?
things. The first one is we didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves. And the second,
See, that was a dangerous mark. They almost said it again there. The high standards, and then that they set for themselves, because it could have almost been the high standards that you have of us. Is that not just the same though? Like, they've set themselves at a high bar, so they're effectively saying that. I can't tell whether they're saying that it's your fault or not. It sounds like the same thing, just different word. Yeah.
second is we failed in our purpose. And for that, I am sorry, and I accept accountability. We will do better going forward. But our actions are going to matter more than any of these words.
Refusing to share any details of the events in question, vaguely referring to yet another tough and hard and difficult affair, claiming to accept accountability without specifying anything he's actually
I liked
accountable
Heroes of the
for,
Storm. I thought it
and
was
quickly
fun to
talking
play.
about high expectations and standing behind quality video games in a desperate attempt to pull the conversation into the light, breezy, and ultimately shallow realm of, hey, aren't video games fun? Let's just have some fun. Don't think about anything, ever. Don't think. Don't think. The Division 2 isn't political. Don't think. This is what the Brackology is. It's just so smooth by now that Brack could run for office. Blizzard's president isn't sorry. He'd actually address specific issues and offer solutions or amends for those issues if he actually gave a flying shit about any problems you might have with his shit company. He doesn't have to be sorry though. Blizzard Entertainment President J. Allen Brack is a man who knows he doesn't have to apologise, and that's why he's never done it. Brack demonstrated how little he needs to apologise at the very BlizzCon where he pretended to be sorry about whatever it was he was pretending to be sorry about. After a year of harsh PR fails and hounded over the Blitzchung controversy, Blizzard went into BlizzCon 2019 with a very clear and obvious goal. Quickly placate the crowd with a mama's farce of an atonement, then move very quickly onto game announcements. Blizzard's parent company knows this well, for Activision was there when Gamers TM boycotted Modern Warfare 2, only to be found playing it en masse the moment it released. This notorious image is all Activision.
I think the power that a critic has, though, really is just to be able to criticize any angle, right? Blizzard at least did the right thing to apologize, whether it was a fake apology or not. If they didn't apologize, he'll be called out for it. If he does apologize, then he'll still be called out for it as a negative, that it's something he had to do in the first place. Do you see what I mean? Like, you can't always win as the company. Not that I'm, on their side in any case in this way. It's just, what was he supposed to do? He has to still apologize. At least they addressed the situation, but they could have, of course, done it in a much more legit way. But they just, it's a weird way of going about it. What a fucking Blizzard sellout. Yeah, I saw what you wrote as well, Orgy. Like, most people having their apologies written for them, etc. It'd all have to be like double checked and triple checked by lawyers and stuff like that. Make sure there's actually no. I think part of the reason why there's no legit apology is also because it could be construed as, what is the term? Taking accountability, and therefore admitting you're wrong, which would then lead you into a situation where you could have more refunds accessible to the public. Basically, it could be used against you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, by saying you did something wrong is going to almost always be used against you. I think there was something like that about with the police and stuff like that. Never sort of just don't say anything, because whatever you do say can be used against you. And it almost always will be used against you. It's not going to be like, oh, sorry, officer, I did this because, I wanted to save my nan. She's very ill right now. And by me pushing that pram out of the road so the car didn't hit the pram, that child got saved. But in the process, I, did something bad, regardless of what your intentions were. I know I'm going off on a bit of a ramble here, but whatever your intentions were, you still suddenly given your opposition the right to now use that against you. And that's why I don't think you ever get a true apology from companies and stuff like that. So maybe he wants to apologize, but you can't truly do it because it can be used against you. It's basically the point I'm trying to make, if anyone can make sense of what I just said there.
Blizzard needs to know it's got nothing, ultimately, to worry about, ever. At least when you lot, the cattle, are unhappy, when the actual customers, the people with the money, investors, the shareholders, whatnot, if they're upset, then there's a problem, but you lot, what they got to give a fuck about. Whether it's ruining esports careers, suspending Hearthstone players for self-serving political reasons, or claiming legal and moral ownership of its own audience's creativity, Blizzard can and will continue
What's wrong
to
with
be
that?
total fuckwads and get away with it, because ultimately it has Diablo 4 coming out, it has Overwatch 2 coming out. Never mind that they already confirmed microtransactions.
We all know Overwatch 2 isn't going to do anything. Like, it'll make money, it'll be fine, but it's not going to rock the boat in any way, shape, or form. The only property that Blizzard have currently coming out that's going to rock the boat in any way, shape, or form, where people will suddenly be reinvested in Blizzard, and the future of Blizzard will be Diablo 4. Overwatch 2 is going to do absolutely nothing. Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch. Everyone knows that. It's just Overwatch with some new PvE features and things like that. You're not going to go into Overwatch 2 going, wow, there's so much I can do. I can play this game for an eternity and I still won't get bored. Yeah, you know what Overwatch 2 is going to be. So I'm just discounting that one like immediately. Diablo 4 is the only one where they could do something different with the RPG hack and slash genre. Probably not going to, let's face it. It's probably still going to be very similar to Diablo 3 and not bring in that many new mechanical features that would keep players coming back to it. I hope they do, because I would love for Diablo 4 to be really addictive and fun to play. I would love to play a lot of that. But I am skeptical, and I do think it's their last bastion, other than a new IP. But I know that they have a lot invested in Diablo, so not sure what their new IP would be other than a mobile game, really. Because again, like where's the market shifting these days? And most people are going towards mobile. Anyway.
In Diablo 4 before they even knew when the game's going to be fucking finished. Never mind that Overwatch popularised loot boxes and perpetuated the predatory in-game gambling craze of the late 2010s. Blizzard has consumer products, and it knows you will consume. It may toss some bones out here and there, a display of sorrow, even a full refund, but it knows you'll be back. You always come back. Activision Blizzard gained 93 million new players last quarter, thanks in large part to its mobile division. Meanwhile, Activision as a parent company is reportedly planning to turn Blizzard into far more of a content mill, increasing the rate at which it releases games, which may spell the end of Blizzard's sporadic releases with long-term support, especially as it too focuses on mobile gaming. With this increased output, I can't say I expect the quality to increase with it, and with the company apparently planning more remakes in 2020, one would hope Blizzard learned its lesson from Reforged and will be better next time. But Blizzard, these past few years, has demonstrated that doing better isn't high on its list of priorities. It only has to keep on failing upwards, which it's been doing with a disgusting level of success.
That's an interesting point. He might just go into it in a moment, but one of you just mentioned in regards to BFA still making a lot of money, even though obviously BFA has been regarded as the worst World of Warcraft expansion ever, and there's been quite a lot of World of Warcraft expansions. So it's a very funny phrase that actually is quite realistic and true, is this failing upwards. You know, you're bringing out failures essentially, but they're still making money, so it's still working. And if it's still working, they're still probably going to do it, because if they were like in a position where it's like, okay, guys, our games are failing and they're not making money, we have to now bring out something that's going to be good enough to make money. But there's going to be no incentive to make something good enough to make money if they can make bad things and make money. Damn.
And that is why Blizzard Entertainment President J. Allen Brack is a man who knows he doesn't have to apologise, and that's why he'll never do it.
Tonight, you terrestrial pedestrians will enjoy what we serve you. You will smile and ask for more. And by the end of the night, you will all thank God for me.
I like the green trousers.
Well, Paul, as wretched as that was, let's be clear here. Contractually, I hate to say it, but Jim Sterling is in charge of Rise Pro Wrestling. We are at the whims of a madman in many senses, and tonight the champion, Tony Johnson, could have all the odds stacked against him.
Well, that Nippy now is teaming up with Charlotte.
Prepare yourself for the weird parts now. The criticism has ended.
It's like Always Sunny, isn't it?
You enjoying it, Flawless? Time to move on. Almost. As soon as you get to the end part, yeah. He does like a Family Guy thing.
Dogs.
He really likes his Family Guy
Get
jokes.
the shot of the dogs.
I think Family Guy's funny, but he does this like on almost every one of these videos, especially the early Jimquisitions. It's like, let me just sort of like stretch out a joke now for like 3 minutes that's not actually even funny to begin with. Thank you though, Jim Sterling. That was a good video. Your criticism is very good, so it's always appreciated. Well, Blizzard have a lot to live up to and not much else to bring out that's going to actually allow themselves to live up to that height, or rather the expectations that you have brought upon them. So it's up to you. You are now responsible for whether Blizzard succeed or not in regards with Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 and all that. Diablo and Overwatch Netflix animations confirmed. Ah. See, I was pretty sure I remember hearing a rumor about a Diablo 4 like cartoon series being created. Like they did something a while ago, like a Diablo animated thing, which is probably, as is usual, a testbed. In my non-cynical times, I used to think things like that were always a bonus. You know? Oh, here's this thing we worked on, and we hope you like it. I mean, it's just a cool little bonus thing we did. Nah, almost anything and everything that is like a bonus is always something that has been created with the intention of being created, or, you know, being tested for reactions as to whether more of it should be created in the future. It's never really just a random thing they decided to do. They're always test bedding. Anyway, before this goes on any longer, I'll finish off this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one. Until the next WTii Reacts.